Eggy Spaghetti back again, and in today's video we're going to be talking about how to use a buzzer. Now, the buzzer is typically used for sort of alert sounds, and it's kind of fun when you start to play around with it. At the core of a buzzer is this device here, which is called a piezo, and this is what is found in, say, an instrument pickup, like what you would put on something like a ukulele. And it's also found in the core of a headphone, and that is the core of what is in a typical buzzer component that you would find for sort of an Arduino type kit. Now, one thing before we jump into looking at the code is how does the Arduino work with a buzzer, and I'm just going to quickly talk about pulse width modulation output, and I know that sounds like a big mouthful, but basically on our last video we did a blink of a LED light, and we're gonna see on our digital pins an Arduino can either pulse out a digital on or off signal, which was what the blinking was doing, and then there's a few select pins that have little squiggly lines, tildes on them, and they are capable of doing something called pulse width modulation, and it's sort of a fake way of having an analog output, and this will become more apparent as you use the Arduino more often, and that's basically how the Arduino is able to output a sound signal in the case of the buzzer. So let's jump in, and we're going to take a look at how we're going to upload the code and what kind of circuit we're going to use for this. Okay, so I found a pretty good tutorial on Instructables. What I want to show you about this page is this tool called CodeBender, which I use to upload the code. So in previous videos I showed the two official Arduino tools, and in this tutorial they show the diagram here. Basically the positive end of the buzzer goes to pin 9, which has the squiggly line on it, and the black side, which is the negative, goes to ground. And in this circuit they have a few extra wires here that's not really needed. They also have a resistor, which we're not going to use because we want this to be as loud as possible. And so here is the code, and if you install the CodeBender plugin, you can upload this code to the Arduino right on this web page. Okay, so let's do some wiring up, and then we're going to upload this code to it. Okay, here we go. So we're using a red breadboard today because it shows up a little easier on the camera. And here is the buzzer. And something I was trying to show in the last video, which I had a bit of trouble demonstrating, is if I put the buzzer on a row like this, it's not going to work at all. I need to make sure that it goes on separate rows. So I'm going to put the ground at the corner, and then positive is up a few rows. There's a gap of a few. And on the Arduino I am looking for pin 9, which had the squiggly line, to go to positive, and ground to go to the negative. So I'm going to take black, plug it into ground, should work, and then about 4 up, my white wire will go to pin 9. Okay, now let's go and upload some code to it and see if everything's working. Okay, so I've plugged my Arduino in, and now it is available on this Instructables website. I'm going to go run on Arduino. It's working. So let's see what happens if I plug this back into. So there it is. It's as the code suggests. We have on pin 9, and we have the buzzer going off at 1 kilohertz for one second, and then it stops. Very similar to the blink. But here's what happens if I remove the sticker a bit. So and now I can play with the code a bit on Code Bender. I'm going to make it lower. I'm going to make it go quicker. Let's see what happens now. So as you can see, the buzzer is pretty annoying, although it is useful for making sort of alerts, but it also makes the case for why we'd maybe want to learn about how to do some other analog input so that we can, say, change the frequency of the buzzer or play around with how long or short the sounds are. Okay, we'll see you in the next video.